Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the sixth episode, not fifth, the sixth episode of Keeping It on the DL. My name's Dave. His name's Lambert. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got a big show for you here today. We're going to talk about some gaming. We're going to talk about some sports, specifically football, because that's just what we're into. That's what we talk about. A lot of stuff to go over, a lot of big things to go over. But before we get into all of it, make sure you do all the YouTube stuff, man. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you enjoy it. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts, your opinions, your takes, what you want to see from this, what you would like, what you don't like, all that fun stuff. Subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and it helps us out more than you may think. And hey, let's have fun, man. Broncos country, let's ride.
Right, baby.
Let's ride. Before we jump into it, though, Mr. Lambert,
Yo,
how are you, sir?
fantastically depressed as always, and I'm ready to do the shit.
All right, all right. That's the kind of energy and the vibe we want here. Heading into
I can
this,
do it.
it really keeps everybody engaged.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
good times. Um, let's jump on in, man. Let's jump on in. So, if you guys haven't seen the show before, if you haven't watched the podcast, if you're new to it, or if you've only seen like the various clips and stuff that we post to social media, um, we talk about some gaming stuff going on in the world, or our various thoughts and opinions, on some various things, and then we kind of transition over into sports, again, more specifically football, just because that's what we're into. Obviously, thanks to the good old YouTube technology, if you're just here for the sports side of it, you can just skip ahead, use the seeking thing down below that splits it up by chapter. Um, or if you're just here for the gaming, obviously you can stop at the gaming. If you're here for all of it, we love you, we appreciate you, and yeah, let's jump in. So this weekend, this is actually a combination of sports and gaming. This weekend, big event happening in the sim racing world. The virtual 24-hour Le Mans race, which has kind of become a bit of a staple in today's world. Started becoming a pretty big thing during the start of COVID, obviously with everybody being home. It gave the opportunity for a lot of big time pro racers to actually get involved um with this and just sim racing in general. I remember seeing like Fox Sports was like televising like iRacing events for like NASCAR, like actual NASCAR drivers participating in just races on iRacing, which was pretty cool. But anyway, so really big event. If you're not familiar with the 24-hour Le Mans race, it's a race that's been going on for literal decades now, and quite arguably one of the most prestigious automotive events in the entire world. Um, you have typically anywhere between 40 to like 60 cars participating, of all kinds of different style of cars or classes as they're known as. Um, just going around racing for 24 hours, man, nonstop all the way through, which is absolutely mind boggling. But this is the virtual one, which does feature a lot of big names, some pro, some amateur, some guys who are just sim racers, and that's it. Names like Romain Grosjean, who obviously a pro driver, Max Verstappen, the reigning F1 world champ, um, James Baldwin, who's big in pro racing and in sim racing, Jimmy Broadbent, who's a massive, who has a massive sim racing background, and has recently gotten into some pro am stuff as well. But
This is a mix of pro racers and sim racers only.
exactly, yeah. So it is pro, sim, and like when we say sim, some of those sim, they're not necessarily like esports drivers either. Like some of those guys are literally just people. You know what I mean? Like they're just amateurs. Um,
Yeah, okay.
which is like a guy like Jimmy Broadbent, for example. Yes, he's now starting to do some pro stuff.
Hmm.
He partaked in this thing called the Praga Cup, which is like more like a pro am thing than it is like pro. Like it's not like F1 or like NASCAR or any of that nonsense,
Hmm.
um, but I mean, still impressive. He actually ended up winning a championship there, which was pretty cool.
Definitely.
But yeah, like I mean, he's just another guy. You know what I mean? And he's partaking in it. So it's a combination of real world drivers and virtual drivers essentially.
Yeah.
Um, but a really big event. Winner takes home like it's like a 250K like prize pool, um, which is pretty sick. Um, I saw like there was multiple trophies that like trophy designs that were made. One was like I think sponsored by Lego, which looked really dope. Um, but again, really cool, really big event. Starts tomorrow. It's a 24-hour race, so it goes from tomorrow into Sunday, obviously. But um, the whole reason why I'm bringing it up, other than the fact that I'm a nerd and I love racing, is it kind of made me think of something. I want your opinion on this.
Or
What if other sports games did stuff like this? So, like for example, like what if like FIFA, right? Like obviously soccer has the World Cup, right? That's a big thing for them.
Mhm.
Um, so like what if FIFA compiled together? You don't even have to include pro players. It could just be literally just the esports people of FIFA. Is there an esports scene? I know there's like I know they run various tournaments and stuff for like Ultimate Team and things like that, but I don't think there's an actual esports scene for FIFA. If there is, I don't. I mean, let me know. I have no idea. But anywho,
I mean, there's definitely tournaments, but I don't know if there's like official
yeah.
teams or anything.
But like, what if FIFA did something like that? Like, so what if they held their own World Cup? So like, there's various qualifying tournaments, throughout the first, 2 years or whatever. It's where it's just all kinds of people who get to try to participate and qualify and be a part of the team and like represent an entire country for a virtual World Cup, right? Like, what if they did something like that, or even like Madden, um, have the ability to? I mean, it's not an actual feature in the game or a function in the game, but have the ability to actually sit there and play, like every single position is available to play. So literally, you could have 11v11 lobbies, um, or like you know, NBA 2K has an esports team. What if they did like almost like a FIBA World Cup, or even because that's a thing, or even like almost like an Olympic style event. Like what if other like would you be interested if other sports did stuff like this?
Uh, I can't think of a reason for them not to. I think it'd be cool to sort of like bridge the gap between like actual pros and then pros in the video game realm. I think it'd be really cool to like sort of get everyone against each other or even playing with each other just to sort of um I guess just see how each respective group would perform, you know? I think that'd be
Yeah,
really cool. But I mean in most sports things, I mean most of them are built to be able to work in a video game. So like yeah, anything. I mean football, NBA. I mean obviously these are games already, but like even taking it a step further and just like having if you can get the pros to want to actually do it, but
yeah,
um getting pro basketball players, pro football players, and pro gamers. Obviously, they do some stuff like that already, but
yeah,
to expand on that would be really cool.
yeah. I mean, when we see pro players partake in just gaming in general, quite
Hmm.
often. I mean, hell, over the off season, Anthony Davis he signed a deal with FaZe Clan. Like he's a part of FaZe.
Yeah.
Um, and he was streaming a lot of like NBA 2K. I actually saw a hilarious clip, not to get off track, but I saw a hilarious clip to where he was streaming 2K, playing as himself,
Yeah.
and he's known for being pretty injury prone. He gets hurt quite often, and literally he's playing as himself, and he fucking got hurt. Like literally, just running down the court and just fucking sprained his ankle or some shit.
Damn. Okay.
But it was fucking hilarious though. Um,
Yeah, but if they see that, I mean, even sometimes to their detriment, like Kyler Murray.
yeah, right, right. You know what I mean? Get a little too distracted by video games.
That's so
Um,
funny. I love how people did that statistically. Like every time Call of Duty comes out, Kyler Murray's performance just plummets on the field. It's
yeah,
so funny.
yeah. Every new like Warzone update and shit. Oh, yeah, that's actually hilarious. Um, yeah, honestly, truthfully, it'd be something I would love to see, and I would definitely watch. I think it'd be really cool. The downside is that a lot of like FIFA, even in Madden, MLB. I don't know if you could really do it with MLB. I mean, you could, but like, I don't think it'd be as fun to watch. But um, the downside with with FIFA and Madden is that you can't. They don't have the ability to where you can do 11v11, um, simply because that's just not a feature in the game. Like FIFA has the options where you could do the like the online pro career to where it could be you and two buddies, going up against three other people. Um, but you still have AI teammates that you could switch to and control, of course. But um,
Yeah, I feel like though, I mean, that'd be something they could easily add, especially if
yeah,
this were like to become a thing. You know what I mean? Like they
yeah,
just would throw that feature into their games no matter what.
yeah, dude, I could finally become an offensive lineman. I can, I could finally do
True.
it. Finally do it.
Yeah,
I ain't gotta worry
I
anymore.
can do that right now if I want. I just choose
Yeah.
not to though.
Yo, dude, I'll be a fullback. That's what I'll do. I'll become the best fullback in the world.
You'd be the only fullback in the world.
I'll I'll never be on the field at all whatsoever. Yeah, that'd be I don't know. I feel like I feel like it'd be really interesting. Um and I think we see it a lot in like sim racing. Like this isn't the only sim racing event, obviously. It's probably one of the bigger ones, um yeah, I would love to see that. But
Yeah, I mean, in racing, it's pretty easy to do just because the way the games are set
yeah.
up. But
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of almost purposely set it up to be able to do stuff like that. But recently I saw an article that kind of made me think. You and I, like, we had this discussion. I feel like almost every week we have this discussion, whether it be on the podcast or not. Um, where the gaming world right now is tough, right? Like there's nothing really new coming out. There's nothing good coming out. Um, all in
unless you like
all,
Harry Potter,
yeah, right. Unless you like Harry Potter, there's that. There is that.
I love Harry Potter.
I don't. I'm interested in the game. I'll tell you that.
Really?
Yeah, the game, like it actually looks intriguing. Like I might cop it. I don't know. Um, we'll see. We'll see. Probably buy it on sale. I don't know if I'm buying a day one.
Buy a day one.
I don't think I'm
What
buying
else
a
you
day
gonna
one.
play?
My entire list of games that I have that I don't touch.
Says
That's
you.
So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna stare at my list of games and not watch a single one of them and sit here for an hour on TikTok. Like that's usually how that goes. But anyway, um, but yeah. So again, like the gaming world, gaming space as a whole, it's a little rough. Because again, there's just nothing. You find yourself having to go back to old games because there's just nothing good coming out, and
Hmm.
the new stuff that does come out that is super hyped, like for example Warzone 2, um, Battlefield 2024, or sorry, 2042 rather. Um, the games like Halo, these games that are super hyped, they're just ass. And they're not worth playing or devoting time to. Um, so I saw an article recently on PC Gamer um, that was 5 PC games that should definitely have more hype than what they have. Um, or in other words, that we should be playing a lot more than the super popular in the now games, right?
Hmm.
Some of these games you and I have actually played, and then we've even played together. Um,
Okay, fair
but
enough. Fair enough.
I kind of want to go through this and do like a yay or nay. Like, does this deserve more hype or no?
Okay.
All right. So number one, Hunt Showdown,
Uh,
hype or not?
Hype. If you like that style of game,
All right.
I think it's really well made.
If you guys have never played Hunt Showdown, I agree. I think it is. I think it is well made. It's an extraction shooter that is set a little back in time. That has all kinds of weird I don't know what are the, like creatures in them. Like what do we refer to them as?
Just monsters.
Yeah, I get monsters. That's probably
Literally,
the
I
best
think that's
word.
what the game even
Yeah,
calls them.
yeah, that's probably the best word for them. Various monsters. If you want to look at it, it's just kind of like bosses in the game. But it's a PvPvE extraction ordeal. And um yeah, I mean just think 19th century stuff, right? So it's that those style of like weapons
Hmm.
and clothing and things of that nature. And similar to like a Tarkov, to where or just your typical extraction shooter. I shouldn't say Tarkov. Your typical extraction shooter, to where if you die, you lose everything, um, and you go from there. Um, yeah, I mean it's not my style of game per se, um, because I'm also not big into extraction shooters, but um, no, I definitely think hype. I think it's a solid game.
Yep. I don't
I
know
think
if
it's
they've
very
done
well
with
done.
it recently. I mean they've come up with some updates, but I haven't played it in quite a while. But
Yeah,
the Hunt Showdown is it's been good for a long time.
yeah, no, definitely a solid game. Okay, next, you and I played this during like the start of COVID. We were here, hype or not?
It's free, so hype. It was worth the time we played, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, actually free. Um,
Actually, free. The sequel's
yeah,
not free.
the
Funny enough,
sequel is not free. Yeah, but
didn't play that one yet.
I think the sequel's cheap though. Like, I think it's like dirt cheap.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
one day when we're really bored, we should run through it or something.
yeah,
I don't know.
probably. Yeah, no. I agree. Hype. I think it was a lot of fun. Didn't
Yep,
last very long. Like, I think we got through it in like 2 hours or some shit.
2 hours probably. Yeah,
Um, but
the puzzles are interesting.
yeah.
Pretty
Oh,
basic once you figure out like the initial idea of them, but
yep. Um,
it was cool.
it's a little creepy, little creepy of a game.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, the stage part is no joke.
yeah. There's definitely a few moments where I sat there and was like, "What the fuck was that noise?" Especially because like if you want to keep it authentic, right? You can sit there. Yeah, you have walkie talkies that you come across, and that's how the two of you communicate.
I believe is what we did.
Which is
If
exactly
I
what we did.
remember,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, man. It was a fun little co-op game. Like, it was good, and they have, like you said, they have a sequel. I think they have another game that they made too. Um, if I'm not mistaken, but similar
Yeah, I heard
concept to something along the lines of like It Takes Two, or um what was the what was that other like two-player co-op game that those guys made? I can't even remember, but
the Prison Break one.
yeah.
Yeah, I forget what it's
Uh,
called. That game
yeah.
was interesting too, though.
But yeah, similar to those kind of games. So, if you guys
Mhm.
are into co-op games, and if you have a PC, again, it is completely free to play. So at the very least, worth checking out. It'll kill a couple
Definitely.
hours of your time. Okay, next. Now, I've heard of this game. I've never actually played it. So I'm gonna say the name of it. And I'll see whether or not you've heard of it. It's called Kiwi.
Kiwi. Uh, how do you spell it?
Key, and then we.
$25.
It is $25.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this game. I'll be
So
honest.
so I've heard of it, never played it, especially not for $25. Um, but um, it's think of like Played Up or even
Hmm.
like Overcooked, like that kind of not food related, but like that kind of concept to where it's a co-op based game that kind of puts some pressure onto you because there's a time limit involved. Um, but you and your friend you play as a bird, um, and as a kiwi bird, that's the name. And you you're going around sending mail. Like that's the idea. Um,
A USPS simulator.
yeah, pretty pretty much. But there's multiple levels, obviously, and a little bit of a puzzle game too, because there's like different obstacles that you have to kind of get through and tasks that you have to complete. Um, but yeah, if you complete each level, you make more money, and especially if you do it under the time limit, you make more money and get all kinds of cosmetics and things like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. Again, seems decent. Um, and again, I've heard of it.
Reviews are
I don't.
good.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd spend $25 on it.
Nope,
Um, but after
not a
hearing
chance.
that, and after I'm sure you probably like looked it up a little bit, hype or not.
Are we talking about for me personally?
Yeah, for you personally.
I don't think I'd play it. That's
Yeah,
just me though.
that's I'm kind of in agreement. I mean, I'm
If there
always
was a demo, maybe I'd try it,
yeah,
but there's not. So
yeah. I'm always down to try something. Um, just not for $25.
yeah,
That's
that's a big price of entry, I think.
yeah, yeah. That's a hefty price, but I do enjoy games like that though, like games that could be puzzle games or just games that you can just sit there and have fun with. And
Yeah, again,
um,
it's nice seeing like different games come out.
yeah,
It's nice getting something a bit unique.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Okay, next. Um, Honkai. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, Honkai Impact Third, not the third,
Oh,
just
this
third.
is it's like a Genshin clone, I think.
Yes. So it is free to play. It is very, very, very similar to Genshin Impact. I guess the story is more based or is inspired by Evangelion. Um
Oh, okay.
and you know, third person combat, the art style and all that, again, very similar to Genshin. Um
Wait, what
but
the fuck? It's the same devs.
is it the same devs?
MiHoYo Limited. Isn't that the same devs? Give me a second. Is Genshin on Steam?
I think it's on
It's
Steam.
not.
Epic? I think it's on Epic.
It is definitely not. But
Yeah.
that's supposed to be what the devs are. So I feel like those are the same devs. MiHoYo. Yeah, it's the same devs.
Same devs? Okay.
They made the same
Interesting.
game twice.
Interesting. All right. Well,
Why'd they make the same game twice?
interesting. Okay. All right.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. Is this single player? Is this multiplayer and co-op? Like
It
like
is it is single player.
oh,
So
it's
it's a
single player
single
only.
player, yep, single player RPG. Um and I from what I've read, it's so some of the combat is very satisfying and very fun because
Hmm.
it there's a lot of mobility involved and it also doesn't I believe it doesn't also have like a stamina like system in it, so you just keep going,
Yeah.
which is cool. Um, however, there's some aspects of it that make it feel almost like a mobile game, um, which is like a like a kind of thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, people rate it pretty high.
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say I haven't played it. I played Genshin, and
Yeah,
Genshin's actually really good. I
yeah,
don't care what anyone says. That's a good ass game.
yeah,
Um, like spyware slash fucking spending thousands of dollars aside, it's a good game. And this is slightly, I'm definitely slightly more interested in this for the fact that it's single player and not like some multiplayer dog shit. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah. So you're saying
it's
hype?
cool. I'm saying hype. Yeah, why not?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna say not just because I don't I don't really play this kind of game. Um,
Okay, but
I
look at her tits though.
I mean, the art style seems really, really cool, and I ain't talking about the chest. Just just
Why not?
generally speaking. Again, the art style seems cool, but yeah, I don't know. It's just not my kind of. It's just not my kind of thing. It's just not what
Yeah.
I'm into. So, um, but hey, it is what it is. And then last one. And I think we've even talked about this at one point in
Hmm.
time. Escape Simulator.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
have talked about that.
So
Um.
if anybody's not familiar, you and a bunch of buddies, I think it's up to like 5 players if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5.
Mhm.
You and a bunch of players. I mean, you're in escape rooms. It's all kinds of puzzles and and different variations of that and interactions and stuff like that. It's a very basic thing. Um, this is a game that actually also has a demo available too. So if you ever wanted to try it and you know not spend the money on it, you can. But again, it's a game that's rated very, very high. I've seen a ton of gameplay on it. It looks a ton of fun.
Mhm.
Um, something that I've always wanted to give a go. However, with us in the friends group that we have, one the price of $15. mm, you know, people are
Off,
you know
you
they,
know?
they can be a little iffy on that, and I don't blame them, especially because us in the friend group that we have, we tend to buy games, play them once, and never touch them again. So
Not wrong.
I get it. But
Not wrong.
like I literally bought GT7 because all of you were playing it. Not, I don't think a single one of you have touched it since.
Okay. Okay. To be fair, at least
Yeah,
in my defense,
yeah.
I'm not a big racing fan.
I know you're not. Yeah, I know you're
Okay.
not. I
I'll
know
play
you're
a racing game for a short while
not.
with some friends, but I will never main a
Well,
racing game. It'll
that was
never
the
happen.
whole reason why I bought it was so then that way all of us, all the boys, could get together and play some racing games. And then what happened? What
Listen,
happened?
I'll be down to play whenever, but you're gonna have to talk to to Joe and Cam about
Yeah,
playing online.
I gotta
You
talk
know
to
what
the
I mean?
boys. Yeah, I gotta talk to the boys. Which is fine because I can't play it on controller anyways. But anywho, I'm getting off topic. Um, so yeah, Escape Simulator. I'm saying hype. I'm saying hype. I've always wanted to buy this game. I've always wanted to try it. It seems like a ton
Mhm.
of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really cool game,
Yep.
and I think most games that are sort of like that fashion
Yep.
are usually pretty good and interesting. And even if they're not long, again, even if it's a couple hours, I think it's still like kind of worth it just for the experience that you end up having with your friends. But um, I don't know if they update it. Is it a game like they update and they add more rooms and shit?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool then. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably worth the money then, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I would definitely say so. And like on top of that, like I mean, you and I we played Surgeon Simulator.
Hmm.
Um, similar concept. You know what I mean? Similar vibe. Just you're not ripping apart a man's body. Um,
Yep.
but and like that was fun. You know what I mean? I enjoyed that. Um, but but yeah, no, we gotta. I think we gotta pick this up one day. Maybe like when it goes on sale or something. Make it happen. Um,
I agree. Actually, yeah, might as
yeah,
well.
yeah. But yeah, that is 5 PC games that are very slept on that we need to all play apparently. Um, And truthfully, I agree with most of that list. I agree with most of that list.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, those are all good games to be honest. So
Yeah,
whoever
yeah,
made the list is not wrong. They're not wrong.
true, very true. Um, One game, however, that I think we all need to just stop playing. Um,
Ah,
Warzone 2.
wow.
Um, Now, funny enough, you and I we actually played this last night. Um, and had such a great time playing it. Um, but recently they fixed uh one of the one of the bigger bugs out of the many that they have. Um, you know, in the game of your ultimate perk. So your perks like High Alert, Ghost, um, Bird's Eye, which is insanely broken. There was I don't remember all the perks for that one, but anyway,
Mhm.
your biggest perk not working, um, or not working as intended because some of them worked, but they just didn't fully work. It took almost 2 months for them to do this, and yet there's still
Incredible.
so much in the game that still needs to be touched and still needs to get worked on and adjusted and all of that fun stuff.
Sounds about right.
Do you think that they should have waited to launch this game?
No.
Why
You
not?
have to say why. Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
why not?
I just don't think it would have changed anything. To be honest, I think that no matter how much time you would have given them,
Mm.
I literally think it just would have been the exact same.
So you
To be
think
honest.
ultimately it still would have launched in the state that it launched in, even if we waited?
Yep. Do you
Interesting.
think it wouldn't have?
I think it would have been a little bit better.
I think
Um,
no bullshit when I say this. I think when
yeah,
they released the game, they thought it was polished. No bullshit.
you're honestly probably not wrong. Um, knowing these guys, yeah, you're probably not wrong. Um, and I'm sure just like we've talked about with like Cyberpunk before and stuff like that. Like I'm sure there's um you know people above the devs, right, like the shareholders, the investors, all that,
Mhm.
the guys at the top who are like, nope, this game needs to be launched on this day regardless of the state that it's in, right?
Yeah.
And I get that. But I just don't know how you could look at this game and go, yeah, it's ready to play. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, dude. Like, it still isn't ready to play. Like, I was, and I said this to you before. I was watching Tim and Doc play today, and Doc literally encountered a bug where half of the controls on his controller
Mhm.
stopped working.
Interesting.
He couldn't sprint, he couldn't go prone, and most importantly, he couldn't shoot his gun.
Ah, see, that just sounds like them trying to nerf Doc.
Maybe, maybe he's a bit of a beast, man. The two time back to back. Um, but like bro, there is just so many things wrong with this game.
Mhm.
And I do think if they waited a little bit, I think it would have released in a slightly better state. I'm not saying it would have been perfect because it's not going to be perfect, probably for its entirety of existence. To be honest with you, but I do think if they waited a little bit, I think it would have been a little bit better. I think we still would have had some of those normal issues that we had day one with like, you know, servers crashing and it being super laggy and buggy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been a little bit better. And it's funny because one of the things that you see, like one of the takes on Warzone 2 that is commonly made is is the fact that uh you know, people complain about the state that Warzone 2 is in and all that stuff, and some people who defend Warzone 2 will sit there and say that Warzone 1 was no different when it launched, which is kind of true. Warzone 1 had its fair share of crazy bugs and issues and glitches and what have you.
But
Big but, even with all the issues it had between hackers and glitches and bugs and crashes and all that stuff, it was still fun. Like it was still a fun game to play.
yeah,
Warzone 2 at its core is just not fun.
definitely not fun. But even further than that, you also have to realize that Warzone 1 was Infinity Ward's, uh, real first attempt at a battle royale. Um, and the fact that their second attempt at a battle royale with Warzone 2 is even more buggy than the first one is like all you really have to say about it.
Yeah, yeah. Although keep in mind, it's not just Infinity Ward. Raven Software is actually like they're actually the ones who are pulling most of the strings. Like they are the big ones doing all the work for both Warzone 1 and Warzone 2. It is mostly their show.
Okay, well, that still doesn't change my point.
No, no, you're yeah, no, you're still a very valid point. Um, yeah, man, I uh, I don't know, Chief. I don't know. All I know is that I want shipment back. I want
Yeah.
24 shipment back in the fucking rotation. I don't know why they took that shit out. I was actually having fun playing multiplayer because I was able to just sit there and just play regular shipment, which I hate shipment, so I can't believe I'm saying it. But like, I was able to just sit there and realize it's just gonna be complete chaos. It's just all gonna be dog shit. I'm gonna spawn into a grenade. I'm gonna spawn in front of an enemy. It's gonna happen nonstop. It's fine. It is what it is. I don't care. I get to at least level up weapons, get high kills. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a great time. And they fucking took that away from me.
Well, that's the reason, dude. They detected people were having fun, and that is just simply not allowed.
And I guarantee you, we're already seeing it, but I guarantee you, they're gonna see even more of a drop in player base because of it.
Yeah.
Not only
Well,
because of this, but I mean, obviously, most people are playing Warzone over the multiplayer, and yeah, that's not
yeah. Well,
not
what
great.
they probably saw was a huge drop in their other maps being played, and so their egos took over. They were like,
Probably,
"Yeah, we're gonna make people play these other maps that we think are really good, but everyone knows
yeah,
are dog shit deep down."
yeah. Although, I mean, to be fair, I mean they do this all the time, to where they'll change up the playlist and stuff like that. I mean, that's just Call
No,
of Duty. That's
no,
what they do.
no, no, no.
That's just what they do. But yeah, I mean, dude, I'm not. I don't know, man. I'm just not about Call of Duty right now. It's not fun. Not fun. I might actually, low key, not gonna lie, I might reinstall Warzone 1 just to give it a try again, just to see how's the current state of it.
I wish you luck in the wars to come.
Thank you, thank you. But anywho, enough gaming stuff. On to sports. Specifically onto football. We should just, instead of saying sports, we should just say that. We should just fucking call it football from now on.
Yeah, yeah,
Because this is what we talk about.
yeah.
But last week of the NFL season happened. It's gone. Now getting into the playoffs, but it was a big week. It was a pretty big weekend in the NFL. Some pretty big matchups, some win and get in situations.
Okay.
Some really cool things happened. That I loved seeing. Um, well, okay, loved slash hate seeing. Um, like for example, the Bills taking one to the house on the opening kick of the game, their first game, playing since the DeMar Hamlin injury.
Yeah.
And not only do they take one to the house, they took two to the house that game.
Nice, dude.
Which, as a Pats fan, fuck.
Yeah, that's gotta drive you nuts.
Yeah, that didn't feel too great, especially because Pats were also another one of those like winning get in teams, and
Yeah.
yeah, seeing that happen did not feel good, but it also felt kind
Not
of
at
good.
all.
You were just kind of like, all right, the NFL's rigged, it's scripted. There's no doubt in my mind. Like everything
Finally
is telling
confirmed
me,
it.
yeah, like everything is telling me that it's 100% scripted. Like that's the way it goes.
Yep, understandable.
Um, but no, it was a really cool moment to see. But yeah, I mean, between that, Lovey Smith, there was the big rumors going around that like he was going to get fired after the game, which not surprising, by any means, um, they were playing. If they lost that game, they would have gotten the number one pick in the draft.
Yep.
Um, Instead, the Bears lose their game. And Lovey Smith keeps the game competitive, man. Players go out, they compete, and they go for two towards the end of the game. They complete the 2-point conversion, and they ended up winning. Um,
Yep.
it's,
Giant middle finger to the
yeah,
organization,
yeah.
and I
And they
respect it
win. They
fully.
get the second pick, and then yeah, he immediately gets fired after the game, like almost immediately. They gave him the chance to talk to the media, and then it was literally, I think, like 10 minutes after that. Which is quite funny.
Yeah. You love to see it.
And not just him either. We also saw Cliff Kingsbury getting canned. Um,
Yep.
I believe, I don't think they ever actually confirmed it, but I think Jeff Saturday is also like kind of gone. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
he was only an interim head coach anyway, so it's not like it was a permanent thing. So
mhm.
he
I
might
mean,
still be in the possible candidate pool. I don't fully know
dude,
how
it's
how that one's
stupid
working.
that they fired Frank Wright. It's just really stupid.
It is. It is.
I
Hundred
totally
percent.
disagree with that move.
100%. Yeah. No, I completely
Who's
agree
their
with you.
owner? Jim fucking
Jim
fuckface. What's his
Ursay.
last name? Yeah,
Jim Ursay.
that guy's just kind of a douchebag. I'll say it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Um. Also, I don't know if you saw this. This is probably one of my favorite moments from the weekend. Um. The Chiefs saying "fuck you" to the Raiders and literally played "Ring Around the Rosie" in the huddle and then lined up in a
What
wildcat formation.
the fuck did I just
You did
watch?
you didn't see that?
No.
One of the best things I think I saw the entire weekend. And
What is the point?
so the play went for a touchdown, except it got called back because of a holding call. Um, but
All that bullshit just to get called
yeah,
back.
yeah. But I guess so. I don't know if you watched this week's New Heights. But they talked about it on there, of course. They called it. Man, I should have made a note of it. I forget. It was originally designed for their like Christmas weekend, like
Mhm.
that game,
Yep.
and so they called it like the I don't know, the winter like ring of death or some nuts. I don't know. It was something holiday themed. I should have fucking wrote it down. I forget the name of it,
Yep.
but yeah, like the name of the play and the formation was all holiday themed as far as how they named it, practiced it. But yeah, it was very interesting, very interesting to
Damn.
say the
Okay.
least. Um, but that was probably one of the best things I saw the entire weekend. That, and I don't know if you saw Jamal Williams uh Sunday Night Football intro.
Williams. No.
Oh, dude, you gotta look that up. The NFL finally has a weeb that is open about being a weeb. That's really
Oh
all I
wait,
can say.
I saw an interview. Is that what you're talking about?
Wasn't an interview. I mean, his post game interview, he was wearing like a Naruto like headband. Um, Now literally like the intros where like they go through each player. You know, I'm so and
Hmm.
so from this university. Yeah, no, he didn't do that. Yeah, you gotta check it out. It's fucking hilarious. But anywho, even that, right? Like they go out, they win the game. They weren't unfortunately with the Seahawks winning. Um, unfortunately they were out of playoff contention at that point. Um,
Yeah.
but they go on, they win the game, they beat the Packers. Packers don't make the playoffs because of it, which love that. Awesome. Um and yeah, it was a good weekend of football, man. It was fun.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it. But
Good for you.
um now that the season's wrapped up, Um, it's obviously we're getting into the playoffs and one of my favorite times of the year. Um, but who who would you say we had this discussion, a couple episodes ago, but who would
Yeah.
you say now that the season's over is your pick for MVP?
Um. Yeah, it's tough not to just say Patrick Mahomes. 'Cause he was pretty consistent throughout the season.
Yeah.
I just think it's pretty lame that Jalen Hurts is not going to get it just because he got injured. I think it's kind of lame because
Sure.
I think he would. I think he would have won it if he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
So it's a little unfortunate because still think he's the MVP, but
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts me to say, but I mean, Mahomes is probably going to win it, right? I don't think
Yeah.
there's much chance he doesn't at this point, but
No, I mean, you're right. Um not that he's not deserving of it, because he absolutely is. Like, I mean, he had an incredible year, made some insane highlights, um and truthfully, and not that Jalen Hurts doesn't have a similar situation, but like coming into the year, and I think you and I even said it, like nobody thought the Chiefs were going to be this good. Everyone
yeah.
thought, without Tyreek Hill, this was it. It's over. It's done. Right.
Hmm.
Um. So, you know, coming into the year, and here we are. You know what I mean? And even for a team that's had to deal with injury and stuff like that, like they've been incredible, man. They played tremendous football all season long. Um, and Mahomes, I think you talk about MVP, right? MVP standing for most valuable player, right? And typically the idea of that award
Hmm.
it's to go to the guy that is, like the team can't live without him, right? The team doesn't live up to the same standard or have that same level of performance without that guy.
Hmm.
If the Chiefs don't have Patrick Mahomes, I don't think they make the playoffs.
Okay, but did you see the Eagles with Gardner Minshew?
That's what I'm saying. I think the Eagles with Gardner Minshew, I think they make the playoffs.
Oh fuck no! What are you crazy?
I think they do.
They were
I
dog shit
I think they do.
with
Homie, they
Gardner
put
Minshew.
they put up like 30 some points against the Cowboys.
Okay, but did you see the Saints game,
Yeah, I mean that's an exception, but
bro? That's an
although
exception, please.
although al- although the Saints defense, they could be kind of stingy sometimes, man. Like they could be a defense that like they're either the best defense in the league or they're the worst defense in the league. You really just never know. Yeah, that was a bad game though. That was a bad game.
That was a bad, bad game.
But I think even if it was Gardner Minshew starting, I do think the Eagles still make the playoffs. I don't think they make it as the number one seed, obviously, but I do think they get in there on the wild card.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, Chief.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, part of me does kind of agree with you though, because I mean, coming into the season, right? Like Jalen Hurts, there were so many questions on whether or not he was even going to be the guy, right? Like whether or not he was going to be the franchise guy for the team,
Yeah.
and whether or not he was going to be the guy that they can count on and rely on. And some people thought they were going to take a quarterback during the draft, and all that fun stuff. And here we are, man. Like he had an incredible year, set some franchise records. Uh, had helped produce two, not just one, but 2,000-yard receivers.
Big,
Um,
big, yeah.
and that was
First
that was
time since Jackson and Macklin.
yeah, yeah. First 1,000 yard receiver since Jeremy Maclin, which was
Yeah, in
back
general, yeah.
in 2014. Um, First 1,000 yard rusher as well with Miles Sanders since
Hmm.
2014. Um, and the defense was stellar too. Obviously, he doesn't really have too much involvement in that, other than trying to help produce a very very steady offense, so that way the defense doesn't have to be on the field as much.
Yeah, that
Um,
was a good thing. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, in a lot of the guys around him, they all say the same thing. Like he is a great leader and a great teammate. Not that Patrick Mahomes isn't, because obviously people say the same thing about Patty Mahomes. But yeah, man. I mean, he showed up and showed out all season long,
Yeah.
and truthfully, I agree with you. Like I think if he doesn't get hurt and miss those couple games, I do think he probably ends up being MVP. Um,
Yep. Like the Eagles
but
would have been first seed and locked up weeks ago
yeah,
if that were the case. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's going to be Patty Mahomes. And again, still very, very well deserving. Um,
yeah. One thing to say about both guys, they both made Patrick Mahomes first team All Pro, Jalen Hurts second team All Pro. So
yeah,
that's pretty those big accomplishments for both of
yeah,
them in general. So
yeah. Um, speaking speaking of some All Pro awards, I don't know if you saw this. Sauce Gardner, the
mhm,
rookie corner for the Jets,
mhm.
had a phenomenal rookie season. Like, it is definitely going to be the defensive rookie of the year for the FC.
Oh, for sure.
He made the first team All Pro.
I did see that, yeah.
What's
But he was,
interesting
I
about
mean, he
that?
was crazy. I
Yes, he
mean,
was.
he was the best corner in the league this season
He
for sure.
he is the first rookie to do that
Mhm.
since 1947.
Jesus, yeah,
Just goes to show just how much talent that guy has, and as a Pats fan, how much I'm gonna hate seeing him on the field. Um, so shout out to him. That's fucking awesome. That's a
if the Jets don't get a
cool
quarterback,
achievement.
you'll probably see him a lot.
Yeah, true. That is very true. Although with the way Mac played this year, man, dude, I might need a quarterback.
Yeah,
Uh,
true.
we'll
Patriots need a
see.
coordinator.
That's the biggest issue, man. We need Matt Patricia should not be calling plays on offense. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Jesus. But um all right. So it's playoff time, man. Um
Yeah.
Tomorrow starts first two matchups.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking excited, dude.
Same. Same. I'm stoked. I can't wait. Can't
Who's
wait.
playing tomorrow? Fucking Niners and
Niners,
Seahawks.
Seahawks, and Chargers and Jaguars.
Oh, I can't
That is
wait for the
tomorrow's
Jags
games.
game, dude.
That's gonna
I'm
be
gonna be
it's
the
gonna be fun.
biggest Jags fan.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah,
I
I'm
want the
I'm
Jags to go so far.
I'm pretty excited myself. I did see Trevor Lawrence is actually questionable for the game, but I mean he's
Oh
gonna
no, shot. He's playing. Fuck
play.
off.
He's playing. He's playing.
What is this
Um,
smoke screen? Just stopped.
he's playing.
Fucking Doug
Um,
Peterson is about to suit up and go out there.
yeah, right. And by the way, that's another one too. Shout out to Doug Peterson and just Jacksonville as a whole. Like to sit there and have
Yep.
the situation they had last year with Urban Meyer, right? And just how much of a travesty that entire situation was.
Yeah,
Um,
to bring them here. Yeah,
yeah,
very, very
right. To bring
impressive.
them to a playoff berth, like that's awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome. Um, but
Oh, I
with the
guess
playoffs
yeah.
starting,
Let's touch on that really quick before that.
sure, go ahead.
Who's your coach of the year?
Yeah, coach of the year. Um, I mean, for me, it's a toss up. Um, it's a toss up between three guys. I don't know if I could truly pick one.
Mhm.
There's the two obvious picks, right? Obviously the two teams that have the two best records, right? Between, um, Nick Sirianni and Andy Reid, right?
Yep.
Um, that's obviously the easy picks. Um, But uh, part of me wants to also throw in there David Doorball for the Giants.
Yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, like I think like a kind of similar thing, right? Like last year, not a great team. Um, did not did not play well all year long.
Hmm.
Nobody expected really too much from them this year. Obviously, they picked up some great guys in the draft, but and you could argue that they even had probably the best draft out of anybody. Um,
Yeah, but
but
even then, those guys were not going to make that big of a turnaround, right?
right,
Obviously,
exactly.
there was a whole culture change with the team as
Yeah,
well.
and like, and then obviously there was the questions behind, Saquon, and his health, and whether or not we were going to see that level of productivity we're used to. Daniel Jones, whether or not he's really the QB for them to kind of go with,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, I mean, you talk about a culture change, like that's what he did for that team. Like he really brought a whole new, similar to Sirianni, honestly, like just brought this whole new vibe and electricity to the team.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, man, I truthfully, I'd probably pick him if 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 the winning record, or just the team's overall record didn't matter as much.
Mm.
I'd even throw Dan Campbell in that list of nominees.
Yeah,
Um,
they had an impressive season. I think
right,
just the
but
turnaround they had.
because of the fact that they don't make the playoffs, obviously probably won't really get considered for that.
Yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
you know what I mean? Hell, I honestly, I'd actually, all right, now I'm making my list like five people, but I'd even say Shanahan. I think I think considering, like, obviously the Niners are an incredible team, right?
Hmm.
Um, between all the offensive talent they have, and then defensively, they're one of the best defenses in the entire league.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, look at the adversity that they had to go through this year. They've had three different, technically four different quarterbacks playing for them this year.
Yeah, I think it goes to show how just insane their team actually is, like put
Yeah,
together.
yeah. Like your franchise guy, the guy of the future, goes down with a season-ending injury. And he was like kind of starting to find a rhythm too. Like he was kind of like picking things up pretty well.
Yep.
Um, Jimmy G, who takes them, pretty pretty far into the playoffs last year.
Hmm.
Um, he goes down with the ankle injury that I think they said he'd be good to go for the divisional game. Brock Purdy's obviously their guy at this point.
Yeah.
And I think they'd be dumb to bench him. Um, but yeah, so then here
Wait, you think
comes
Garoppolo might be ready?
yeah, yeah. When Garoppolo got hurt, they were saying it wasn't necessarily season ending. They said that he could potentially be back for the divisional matchup.
Oh, that'd be an interesting question because Garoppolo didn't lose any games this season either, didn't he?
No, no. Um,
Yeah, that'd be an
However,
interesting decision on what they're gonna do.
level of productivity, Purdy's been more productive than Garoppolo.
Mm.
Um, and I think just the overall vibe and environment with the team, I think everybody's gelling very well with Brock Purdy. I think Purdy himself is playing very well, obviously, showing that he's pretty good. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I agree.
so I think it'd be smart to stick with Purdy. But yeah, and then even at one point, I think Purdy actually, I don't know if he missed two games. I think he only missed one game, but Purdy missed a game with a rib injury. Um,
Oh, shit, okay.
so then they had a whole nother guy coming in for
What
for a
the
game.
frick, man?
Um,
Where are they getting all
but
these quarterbacks from?
right, you know what I mean? And yeah, so it was, and considering that all of that happening, and now you're relying on literally the guy who was the very last pick in the draft to lead your team and lead the way, and coming into this playoff as the second seed, in the NFC. Like that's impressive. That's impressive. I mean, obviously, again, the talent um is incredible on the team.
Yeah.
Offensively, you got guys like Debo and obviously George Kittle. The trade to pick up CMC. that might arguably be one of the best mid-season trades in NFL history.
Um, yeah, yeah, I think it did a fuck ton for their team, to be honest.
Absolutely. And on top of that, like he gelled so well into that offense so quickly. Like just
Hmm.
almost immediately, which was great too. At least for them anyways. But
Yeah, he's been so fucking good for them, and the
yeah,
fact that he's stayed healthy is really big.
yeah. Yeah, that's the other side of it too, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tough one for coach of the year. I think ultimately it probably goes to Sirianni. Um, just looking at like all that team has done this year and just how good they've been on both sides of the ball.
Hmm.
You talk about like a culture thing, like again, Sirianni. I mean, that man is definitely if he's not from Philadelphia, I don't understand how. Because I mean,
Yeah,
he pretty much is an Eagles fan. Like that's just
and I
how
think
that man is.
when he interviewed with, he was the last interview with the Eagles, and the rumor was at the time that they were basically ready to hire Josh McDaniels. Like
Right. Yeah.
he was basically the head coach. Is what
Yeah. I remember
the
that.
rumors were saying. And then they interviewed Sirianni, and I guess Jeffrey Lurie fell in love with him so bad that he just basically hired the guy on the spot.
Yeah.
You're right. The only way I think that would have happened is if Sirianni was basically an Eagles fan, just coming
Yeah.
in and being like, "Oh my god, dude!"
Yeah. Just jumps up on the desk.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
it'd be
yeah.
cool for him to win it. I don't know. Coach of the year is always weird though, because even the time, because the Eagles had a similar turnaround in 2017,
Yeah.
right? Because Doug Peterson had the 7-9 year one, and he
Right.
wins the Super Bowl, and he didn't win Coach of the Year that year, which I thought was
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know who votes for like half of these awards either. So like that's the other side of it too, right? Like
Nope.
there's obviously like that personal bias, right?
Oh,
Ha-
definitely. Yeah.
and whoever's voting for it, I mean, I don't even know. I think it's like is it like the AP like Players Association? Like I don't know. Is it the press? Like I have literally have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. But
I
that's
don't
a
know.
good question. That's a good question though. But anywho, playoffs start tomorrow. I'm super stoked. Can't wait. But I thought it'd be fun for us to create our own predictions for the playoffs. Who we think is going to win out each matchup, why, and then ultimately, obviously, win it all. Um,
Mhm.
so move the Eagles over to here because obviously they got the first round bye. Let's start. Let's start with the NFC.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Bucks.
Hmm.
It's an interesting matchup. Bucks are starting to come on strong.
Yeah.
Um, and it's Tom Brady in the playoffs, right? Like, how do you potentially root against him? Especially when you look at the other side of it. The Cowboys they've been a little iffy lately. Dak hasn't really
Yep.
been playing
They've been
incredible,
throwing.
right? Like he's been Dak's been a little rough. Zeke
Yep.
not really doing too much.
Yeah. Micah
Um,
has disappeared a bit.
yeah, right. Like Micah Parsons hasn't really been as dominant on the defensive side of the ball. Um, it's an interesting matchup, and on top of that, because Tampa Bay is the division winner, they're playing in Tampa.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
That's actually hilarious to me, honestly, considering their record. Um,
It's pretty big too, because I feel like the Cowboys definitely play worse on the road. So
absolutely, absolutely. Um, and this is a rematch of the opening game for the season of
true.
of of the Cowboys versus Tampa, and you think back, Tampa actually won that game.
Pretty handsomely too.
Yeah, that they did. That they did. Um, so who do you got in this matchup? This is a tough one.
Yeah, listen, the Cowboys are winning this game.
You really think so?
I think the
Just
Cowboys
like
are
that, you
easily
don't
winning
even have
this
to think
game.
about it.
Yeah, for sure. I would love for the Cowboys to choke, and I wouldn't even care if the Eagles lost the week after, because I'd just be so happy that the Cowboys just got absolutely throttled in the first round.
Sure.
But I think Cowboys are if the Cowboys can't beat the Bucks, they should just give up as a franchise. Truly, their team is so much better than the Bucks are right now. The
Yep.
only thing the Bucks have going for them at this point that's better is the playoff experience Tom Brady has. That is all they have that is
There's
better
that.
than the Cowboys.
There's
That
that.
is it. Cowboys have better everything else, and they have zero excuse to lose the game.
Yeah.
They should win the game.
Yeah. No, that they should. That they should. But
I
you
think
could
they're slight
also
favorites, if I'm not mistaken.
they are. Um, but at the same token, you're only as good as your last game, right?
Yeah.
Anything could happen. Um, and again, I think the Bucks are hitting. They're finally getting their shit together when they need to. It's about damn time it happened. Had fucking Brady on my fantasy team all year, and he didn't do jack shit for me.
You see,
For,
what happened was Brady got the divorce settlement money coming through.
mm,
He got it in the bank account now. Now there's a bit of a weight off his
true,
shoulders, man. He's
true.
throwing better.
That is true.
That Giselle money came right through.
Yeah. True. I mean, the other thing too. So on a real note, their rushing game is finally picking up stride. Like they haven't been able to run the ball literally all season long, and it's finally clicking, which is opening up the play action game, which is a big bread and butter of Tom Brady's success throughout his entire career.
Mhm.
Um, is the play action, and again, things are finally clicking for them. So I do think they can come in and beat Dallas. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do agree with you. I do think Dallas ends up winning this game. Um, I think overall Dallas is a better team. I think as a whole, um, it's just they've been more consistent, obviously, throughout the season in comparison to Tampa Bay. Um, and Brady's just been so hit or miss throughout the season. Really more miss than hit. Um, so I agree.
Mhm.
I agree. Next, this is also another interesting matchup. Giants versus the Vikings. The Vikings coming in, a very like not talked about team throughout the almost the entire season. Honestly, have a very high record.
Mhm.
And they've played well for the most part. The Giants, we already kind of gave our takes on them. Um, they got off to a really hot start. What were they, 5-0, 6-0 before their first loss?
Yep.
Um, Saquon has played some great football. Your Daniel Jones has honestly played great too. Daniel Jones actually has better stats than Dak Prescott this year.
I believe it.
Um,
Yeah.
Now granted, Dak was hurt, so he did miss some time,
Mhm.
um, no, Daniel Jones has actually been decently efficient. He's actually had a decent year. Um, their defense is playing strong. Like as a whole, again, it's they're not too shabby. But should be an interesting matchup. Playing in Minnesota, obviously. Um, who you got for this one?
Um, man, I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm taking both the two other NFC East teams to win. I think the Giants pull through. They
Interesting.
almost beat the Vikings earlier in the season,
Yeah.
and I think the Giants are just even better now than they were then. So,
Yeah.
um, and listen, I'm sorry, dude. I who in their right mind would put money on Kirk Cousins in the playoffs? Who would fucking do it, dude? I wouldn't fucking do it.
Yeah. That's that's
He's
that's
a
a fair point.
choke job,
That's
man.
that's a fair
You
point.
just can't bet on the guy.
Sure. Yeah, I mean
He
you're
will
not entirely
fuck it
wrong.
up, dude. I'm telling you.
You're not entirely wrong, man. Honestly, I kind of agree. I think this would be like the big upset. Um
Yep.
one of the big upsets, I should say, is the Giants beating the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are necessarily a fraud, like a lot of people kind of portray them to be. Because I do think they're a solid football team. Um
They
and I
definitely
think
are.
right, and I think like them acquiring TJ Hawkinson from the Lions during the midseason,
Hmm.
that was a big trade for them. Um Justin Jefferson is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Um, and it's insane what he's capable of doing on a football field.
Mhm.
Kirk Cousins, he had a decent year, and another one of those hit or miss guys. And people talk about prime time Kirk Cousins and how he's just horrible during that kind of environment. But um, I agree though. I think the Giants will give him trouble, both offensively
Yeah.
and defensively. Um,
Yep. I
I
think it'll
think
be a
the
close game for
I
sure.
think it's good. I
But
think it's gonna be another close game.
yep.
Truthfully, I look at all these wild card matchups. I think all of them are gonna be close this weekend. I don't think there's gonna be a single one that's a blowout. Um, and as a fan, obviously that's what you want to see.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I think the Giants actually pull it out, and I think there's a good chance that they actually upset the Vikings.
Yep. I
Um,
agree. I think they'll do it. I think they'll
it'll
pull
be
it
it'll
off.
be it'll be very interesting seeing three teams from one division make it to the divisional round of the
Yeah,
playoffs.
that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think it'll happen though. I really do.
There's a good possibility. It's a good possibility. The one that I'm like really iffy on is that Cowboys Bucks matchup. Like that one, I think could go either way.
Oh, for
But
sure. Yeah.
but
There's a chance. The score could literally be 60-0 Bucks. It could literally be that bad for the Cowboys, but I think that they'll pull it through.
yeah. Um, and then to round out the NFC matchups, Seahawks versus the Niners. Seahawks with a lot of questions coming into the season, right? Trading away Russell Wilson, their longtime franchise QB, who's won a couple Super Bowls with them, and um, who's been who's definitely a future Hall of Famer. Um,
Hmm.
you know, uh, Now handing over the reins to Geno Smith, who's never really had any sort of big season in the NFL. And comes in and has a better season than Russell Wilson, and for a while was an MVP candidate. Was very productive. Has had a career year for them. Um, and the defense has shown a lot of strong moments to where they can obviously be tough to deal with.
Hmm.
Um, Tyler Lockett is a handful to deal with. DK Metcalf can also be a handful to deal with.
No
Um,
doubt.
it's a tough team to have to go up against. But then on the flip side, you got the Niners, who we already kind of touched on. With all their offensive star power, their defensive star power. The one downside to the Niners, their passing defense, especially when it comes to pass coverage defense, their secondary is one of the worst in the league.
Yep.
Um, and they can definitely be picked apart, depending on how well that pass rush is able to get through.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting matchup at Levi Stadium. Who you got?
Niners. Was that even a question?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Seahawks don't stand a chance in this game. They just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think
I
I
would
think
love
it'll
them to win.
yeah,
I would love for them to win because I'd rather the Eagles not face the Niners in the championship game because that'll be
sure,
tough as fuck. But
sure,
yeah, the Niners are unless something catastrophic happens, like
yep,
Purdy goes down
yeah.
or an asteroid hits half the team. The Niners have a 99% chance of winning this game for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, no, and I think ultimately, um, again, I think it'll be another close game. I think this will probably be one of the larger margins of all the
Yep.
games.
Yep.
Um, Although now that I just looked at the matchups again, maybe there's another one that might be a little bit bigger. But I do think it'll be a close game, probably like a two possession kind of score line. But when it's all said and
Hmm.
done,
Yep.
um, but yeah, no, I agree. I think the Niners are just too good. I
Yep.
think
They're just built too well.
yeah, I think just all around, obviously a great team and one of the better teams in the NFL. So um, you know, I would definitely go Niners in that matchup. It's not really much of a debate for that one.
Yep.
Now to the flip side of the bracket. In the AFC, one of the I think this is the first game for tomorrow. I think is Chargers and Jaguars.
Mm.
LA Chargers coming into the season, were they had high odds of being a potential, Super Bowl contender.
Yeah,
Have
they always do.
have obviously had to deal with some injury throughout the year. Um, between uh, not having Keenan Allen for a good chunk of the season, Mike Williams being out for a decent chunk of the season, so hurting the pass game a little bit. Austin Eckler, even at his age, I'm pretty sure he's like 30, 31, who, in the NFL world is kind of old for a running back, um, showed that he's one of the best backs in the league. He was incredible all season long, was a big part of the passing game and the rushing game.
Hmm.
Just typical Austin Eckler that we see. Justin Herbert, overall had a pretty decent year, little off in terms of what people may have expected from him.
Yeah.
To me, it was as expected. If you ask me personally, I think Justin Herbert's a little overhyped. I'm gonna say it. Um,
Hmm. Yeah.
but then you look at like defensively, right? Like they go out, they sign J.C. Jackson. Was a massive pickup for them. Obviously, they get Khalil Mack, right? So you look at the defensive side of the ball, and you're like, damn, that's a tough defense to have to go up against. And their defense wasn't really that strong this year. Even considering some of the pickups they got. So,
Hmm.
but they're coming on strong towards the end of the year. Um, and really, picking up stride right when they need to. And then obviously look at the flip side of the ball. Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Trevor Lawrence, I think this year he showed he is going to be the QB of the future. He is going to be the guy that everybody expected him to be. And that, he will potentially one day become the face of this league.
Yep.
Doug Peterson showed that he could really put together a winning culture and a winning team. Um, the rushing game was pretty decent. Christian Kirk had a decent year. Um,
Yeah,
it
he
was
played
which
better than I thought he would, to be
yeah,
honest.
and he showed he was worth the money that they gave him. Um, and then on the defensive side of the ball, again the defense showed that they could be a tough team to deal with.
Hmm.
And again, you and I, we both said it. This is the matchup that we're both excited about. I think out of all the matchups, this is probably the one I'm most excited for. Um, who you got going into this one?
Yeah, this one's definitely tough. I feel like the Chargers have been basically underachievers for the past few years,
Sure.
which there's actually
I
some rumors that
I mean, I'd
Staley's on the hot seat.
I'd even argue more than the past few years. I'd argue for the past 20 years.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good point. There's some rumors that they lose this game that Staley is that his name, Staley?
Yeah.
The head coach? Yeah, there's rumors he'll get fired, which honestly I don't even think would be a bad move at that point.
No.
If you can't beat the Jags.
Yep.
After saying that, Jags are winning. It's not going to be close. Trevor Lawrence is fucking crazy. Doug Peterson is fucking crazy, and they're winning the game. That's what I'm saying. Put
Yeah.
$100,000 on the Jags. They're
Okay.
winning.
I don't know if I'd put 100 grand on the Jags, but um, it's an interesting matchup. Um, again, you really just don't know what you'll get from either team. I think Austin Eckler will have himself a day. Like I think he'll pop off. Um, but I actually kind of want to agree with you. I think the Jags pull out the upset.
Yep.
Um,
I think Doug Peterson's just too experienced in the playoffs. I
yeah,
think I think he has that experience.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's gonna be it'll be a fun matchup. At least I hope. Um, and it'll be interesting to see what Trevor Lawrence does, man. What Sunshine from Remember the Titans does
Yeah,
uh
true.
does for them. And yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I think it'll be a fun game, but I do think I think there's a good chance, man. We might see some playoff magic happen, and you see Jacksonville pull out the upset. Are they playing in Jacksonville or is it in LA?
I think the Jags are the lowest seed. Um, who's in their
I
division?
can't
I don't
remember.
I know very little about the AFC, like divisions and shit.
Or actually, yeah, no. Didn't Jacksonville win their division? Because isn't it? It's them, Houston, Indianapolis, and who's the other team?
Your mother. I don't know.
um, fuck. Who's their
Let
other?
me. The AFC South.
Yeah,
The uh, yeah, Jags won it. I don't know who's the fuck's the
I thought
fourth
so.
team then.
Yeah, who's the fourth team? It's Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis.
Your
Why
mother.
why am I blanking on this?
Titans. Titans.
Titans. Thank you. Yeah, that's the other one. But talk about a choke job. Holy shit, did they fucking choke?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
the Titans. Wow, fucking, they were like 7-2, weren't
I
they?
know,
Or
right?
seven and
Yeah, yeah,
three,
no, they were they were a good team. Yeah, fucking
and then they
crazy.
lost to the Eagles, and it
True,
was just
true.
dog shit the rest of the
Yeah,
season.
yeah. It
They
was
didn't win another game, which
no,
is
they didn't.
crazy.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, so with
Yeah,
them
Jags
winning
are
the
9-8.
division, so they're going to be playing in Jacksonville, which that'll be an interesting environment. That'll be fun to see.
Yeah, true.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that should be a fun one. Should be a fun one. All right, the next one. I don't think it's gonna be too much debate. Um, I didn't
No, we
even
probably speed through these, to be honest.
yeah. I didn't even really realize this was the matchup. So Baltimore against the Bengals. Bengals coming on strong, obviously, again, end of the year. They've been playing phenomenal football for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Very similar to what they did last year, right? Like last year for the second half, they really started clicking together as a football team, and it's obviously kind of what helped lead them to that, to that run that they had. But yeah, I mean, again, playing great football. Jamar Chase is back; he's healthy, he's playing. Joe Burrow is playing some really good football. The running game is working. The defense is playing well. They just all together, they're playing very very strong.
Hmm.
Flip side of the ball, you got the Ravens who they've been kind of quiet most of the year. Not a lot of people talking about them, but understandably so, right? Like they haven't really done a ton. Um,
Hmm.
they've done enough. That has kind of been their motto for most of the season. However, one of the big talks was obviously the Lamar Jackson injury that sidelined him for a while. He is going to be out for the game. He will not be playing.
I saw it
Um,
was ruled out. Yeah.
yeah, this game. So, with that being said, I think we can both agree here. Who's your winner for this one?
Yeah. Bengals
Yeah,
win.
yeah.
There's not much else to even talk about.
No, right. I mean, again, just too good of a football team. This is actually probably gonna be the one game that does end up being a potential blowout. Um, and yeah, that's just the way it goes. Um, again, I mean, you never know. You're only as good as your last game, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Bengals definitely the heavy favorites for this matchup for sure.
Hmm.
And then the last matchup of the wild card weekend. I say last. I don't know the times for any of these games, but Dolphins versus the Bills and AFC AFC East divisional matchup. Um,
Yep.
with two teams that played very well all year long, right? Obviously the Bills were heavy favorites this year to win it all. Josh Allen was the heavy favorite to
Hmm.
be the MVP. Obviously hasn't had the greatest of years, but he's still been productive enough. Obviously, recent events with the whole Damar Hamlin situation, which I don't know if you saw, he's out of a hospital. He's functioning. He's moving. He's doing a lot better, which is
Hmm.
awesome to hear.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, no. Again, the team's playing great. Obviously, you got a lot of stuff, kind of almost like one of those like NFL rigged kind of conspiracies, right? Like the injuries got them feeling like the second wind almost, right? Coming into this playoff. So,
Hmm.
um, on the other side, the Dolphins, man, they played strong all year long. Is it Mike Daniels or Mike McDaniels?
Mike Daniels. Yeah.
Mike Daniels, yeah. Um, Mike Daniels, he's as awkward and quirky as he can be, man. He,
Maybe it is McDaniel.
I can't
Mike
remember,
Daniel. It actually might be McDaniel.
right? Um,
I think
but
about it.
anywho, yeah, I mean, he showed he could be an NFL head coach, right? He really kind of vibed and clicked with the environment and the team as a whole. And
Yep.
obviously uh, you have Tua, who played strong most of the season. And Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, both were uh incredible targets for him all year long.
Yep.
Um, obviously there's the stuff with Tua with all the injuries and stuff. He has not been cleared for this game. From concussion protocol. Um,
Yeah, he's
so
out.
yeah, so they're going to be going to the backup. Thompson, I think is the
Hmm.
guy's name. I can't remember, um, but yeah, should be an interesting matchup though. Obviously in Buffalo. Again, the Dolphins have shown all year long that they could be that team that like you kind of got to watch out for, regardless of who's starting at QB. Um, who you got? Who you got? Who's your pick for this one?
Um, Funny enough, I actually probably would have chose the Dolphins if Tua was playing. But since he's not, I think the Bills got it.
Yeah,
But the Bills are also kind of one of those teams that feel like they could just have like a catastrophic performance and easily lose as well.
yeah,
Um, I don't think it's as like clear cut as something like the Bengals and Ravens.
yeah,
But I think the Bills definitely should have it.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And again, I mean, the Bills could be that team that they could definitely be hit or miss, and they've shown like throughout the year they could definitely make a lot of mistakes and can cost them games.
Mm,
And again, the Dolphins, like they could be sneaky, man. They could be one of those teams like you really just never know. Um, but part of me wants to agree with you to where like if Tua was playing, I like would kind of want to go with the Dolphins, but I still say the Bills win it out. I think just emotions are high. I think they got so many different things, kind of on their side right now.
mhm,
That sure make for some fun football. But
no doubt.
all right, so divisional matchups. We'll go back to the NFC. I feel like I already know your pick here, but Eagles versus Cowboys. Um, you
So in
know,
this case, the
yeah,
Eagles will actually play the Giants.
it would it be?
The
Oh, you're
the
right.
Eagles will
You're
face the lowest
right.
seed,
You're right. You're right. You're
and the
right.
Cowboys will face
Good
the
call.
Raiders.
Good call. Good call out. Yeah. So anyway, um, sorry, Eagles versus Giants. Um, yeah. So again, Giants could be sneaky. They could be a sneaky team. Um, but who would you have for this matchup?
Yeah, even discounting how good the Eagles are,
Yeah.
and how well built they are to win a championship, I don't think the Giants are built to win two playoff games,
Sure.
frankly. So, um, definitely going Eagles, and
Yeah.
I don't really give the Giants much of a chance in this matchup, just
Yeah.
because I think Jalen Hurts will be 100% healthy by then, and I think the Eagles will come out just basically full deck and just go crazy hard. I just don't really give them much of a chance, but
Sure.
it'd be cool if I think obviously it could still be a close game because obviously
Sure.
it's division rivals and that always throws a wrench in things. But
Of course.
I think the Eagles are just too good on all sides of the ball to lose in this particular matchup for sure.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I think another factor there too is you're playing in the Lincoln, right? Playoff
Hmm.
environment at the Lincoln. It's winter time. It's probably gonna be cold. Like
Oh, it's
it's
gonna be
just
cold. It's gonna
yeah,
be cold.
right. So like just all these extra elements and factors that are involved there. No, I agree. I think the Eagles win it. I think truthfully, I think that matchup, I think it could even be a blowout potentially. Um,
Hmm.
but it all depends, man. Because again, the Eagles have shown throughout the year that they can be a team that can make mistakes and can make a lot of them in a game, and it's obviously cost them some games as well. So um, yeah, be interesting. But I agree. No, I think Philly wins that matchup.
Yep.
for sure. Um, and then, sorry, the correct matchup here. The Cowboys and Niners. It would be a repeat of last year's divisional matchup.
Mm,
Um, where the Niners, uh, you could definitely argue they upset the Cowboys.
hmm
I don't know if upset is the right word, but I would say it is. Upset the Cowboys in Dallas. It'd be an interesting matchup. Differences is now we're at Levi instead. Um,
hmm
in this hypothetical matchup, who would be your pick?
So as an Eagles fan,
Yeah,
as an unbiased Eagles fan, by the
yeah,
way,
yeah.
not a
Uh
biased
huh.
one,
Uh huh.
um, funny enough, I'd actually have the Cowboys winning this game, and the reason's simple. Uh, I think the Cowboys D line will simply be too much for Brock Purdy. I'll say it. I simply think as a rookie QB, he will finally have his welcome to the NFL moment, and I think he's going to make mistakes. And I think it's because he's going to have zero time to throw the ball. I'll say it.
So it's funny, man, because this proves why you and I are good friends. Because I literally same.
Yeah, I think this will be the game where he gets smacked around, dude.
Yeah,
I don't think I think the pressure's going to get to him.
yeah. No, I agree. I think the Dallas defense will give him fits. I think CMC will have himself a game. Like I think he'll pop off.
Oh yeah,
I
for sure.
I think it'll be a close game. Um, but I just don't think. I think the Dallas defense will force Purdy to make enough mistakes for them to be able to win. I
Yep.
still think Dallas' offense might struggle a little bit. Like I still
hmm
think that you still might see, Dak throw a pick or two, or maybe a fumble's given up, something along those lines. I still think that can potentially happen, and I
Yep.
think it'll be a game that comes down to the wire. But I do think Dallas will kind of take one on the road there,
Yep.
in that kind of matchup. But
Mhm.
which would set up for a very, very interesting uh NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
But
that'd be pretty insane.
yeah. All right, so back over to the AFC though. Chiefs versus Jags. Um what's your thoughts there?
Yep. Listen, once again, I will be the biggest Jags fan. Okay, I will cheer them till I die,
Yeah.
but they are 100% losing this game.
Yeah, there's just no question.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
That's another like I mean it has the potential to be another close game, right? Like,
It could
again,
be an upset.
right? You know what I mean? Like
Listen, they have
Kansas
the
City can make
potential. Yeah.
mistakes, right? However, Arrowhead Stadium, it's one of the loudest stadiums in the entire world. Um, and again, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, the likely MVP. Um, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Again, it has the potential, right? Chiefs make a couple mistakes, then Jags, they capitalize on those opportunities. Then hey, yeah, it's a whole different ballgame. You never know, right? But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I think it's gonna be one of two ways. Either one, it's gonna come down to like a game-winning field goal or touchdown, and the Chiefs win, or two, it's a blowout and the Chiefs win.
It's a
It's
complete fucking massacre.
it's
Yeah.
it's gonna be one of the two.
Uh,
Um,
I think it'll be close at first, and then I think they're gonna end up winning by like a few touchdowns. But
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it'll be close in the first half.
Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see that kind of matchup if it happens, of course. But
hmm
um, and then the last matchup, Bengals versus Bills. This arguably has the potential to be um probably the best playoff game in terms of just on paper matchups, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I think this is probably the toughest game to pick
right.
out of the slate.
Um, you look at these two teams and again, just all the things we talked about, right? And This is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. Like I'm almost 50-50 on it. Who you kind of leaning towards?
Um, Strictly because the NFL is rigged and the story has to go a certain way,
Sure.
I'm gonna pick the Bills.
Okay.
Um, because I think, listen, listen, it is somehow going to end up that that the Chiefs and the Bills will have an AFC Championship at this neutral site. It will happen. I don't know
Yeah.
how. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's gonna happen.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
and the NFL gods or Roger Goodell himself will fucking will it. He will will it into existence.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately for the Bengals, because of that, they will lose. Um, I'm telling you that you will see the refs pull some bullshit. I'm telling you, the Bills will win the game.
Yeah.
It'll be very close. It'll be a slaughter. Um, it'll probably be up to this point at least, probably the best game so far, the best
Sure.
playoff game.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, I think the Bills have too much of a story riding right now.
Yeah.
So I think they'll take it.
Yeah. No, honestly I agree. I don't actually think the NFL's rigged, but I mean, just think about how many times in sports we've seen stuff like this happen time and time again, right? Like just that storybook, um, you know, I don't want to say ending, but like just that storybook lineage just kind of happening, right? Like
Yep.
and then again, just considering everything that's happened over these past couple of weeks with the Damar Hamlin situation and all that stuff, like it seems fitting that like they get
Yep.
to this point, right? And again, with even with as great as the Bengals are playing, there's always that chance that like you know Joe Burrow's offensive line decides to not show up because that's a common theme, right?
Hmm.
So there's always something like that you kind of got to keep in mind and watch out for, and you really never know. So yeah, I mean, I say the Bills win. I say it'll definitely probably be one of the best playoff games we see throughout the entire playoffs.
Hmm.
Potentially even in like an overtime matchup. With the new OT rules even. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, it'll probably go. It'll probably go overtime. Yeah.
yeah. But it'll be interesting, man. It'll be interesting. And
Hmm.
yeah, it'll definitely be one I'm excited to see it to watch and see. But I kind of agree. I think the Bills win, but I think it'll be an extremely close game.
Yep.
And you make a good point. There's definitely a good possibility that the refs, may get involved in this game. Who knows? Roger Goodell himself might call down to the field and be like, "Yo,
Is
go
you'll see him on his cell phone at some point. Yeah.
go go trip that guy for me."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, who knows there? But yeah, it'll be interesting. Um, all right, so now conference championship matchups. We got Philly versus Dallas, Kansas City versus Buffalo. But we'll start with the NFC. And again, totally unbiased opinion here.
Totally unbiased.
What
I would never be biased.
yeah, what is your thoughts, your takes?
Okay. So totally unbiased.
Uh-huh.
Let me just okay.
Yep.
Uh okay. So listen. Um Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. And here's why though. Here's why though.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, throw it at me.
Okay. Um assuming um assuming Lane Johnson stays healthy.
Sure.
Because he will be playing throughout the playoffs. Okay, it's
Yep.
been confirmed. He's playing. He's playing injured, but he is playing.
Sure.
Um, Assuming he can stay healthy, I don't think Dallas's D line is better than the Eagles' O line. Okay, and we saw that last time they played.
Yeah.
Um, the Eagles' O line is just simply too good. They
Yeah.
are a literal cheat code. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not the Eagles' fault. It's not the Eagles' fault. It's Howie Roseman's fault. Okay, he did it. He cheated the NFL. He put in
Yeah.
the cheat code, and
Yeah.
they're taking advantage. It is what it is. But I just think Eagles are getting so many players back. And again, injuries could happen throughout the playoffs. Just assuming no injuries, you know. But Eagles will get CJ Gardner Johnson is back playing, leads the
Yep.
NFL in interceptions, even after
Yep.
missing fucking however many games,
Yep.
6 games, whatever.
Yep.
Avonte Maddox should be back. So he gets to get their slot corner. And then Jalen Hurts should be healthy. And I just think the Cowboys are all listen, the Cowboys, as long as Jerry Jones is the owner, will never see a Super Bowl. Okay? That also adds to it. That also adds to it. Um, but realistically speaking, I okay, listen. The Eagles are simply too put together, I think, for the Cowboys to overcome, especially since Dak leads the NFL in interceptions, and the Eagles have a defensive line that has the most sacks in the NFL and a secondary that has the most picks. It's a recipe for disaster
That's fair.
for Dak Prescott, in my opinion.
That's fair. And once again, another situation where environment plays a factor there too, right? Like again, you're playing at the Lincoln. I mean, there's definitely gonna be like at least 7 fights that break out in the stands, dude. I mean, we're talking probably
Oh, it's gonna
two
be
of
bad.
two of the worst fan bases to have in an environment.
There might be
Um,
full blown fucking war happening in the stadium,
Especially
man.
of that magnitude of a game too.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say, in
that
terms of this game, this might literally be the most watched NFL game in the history of ever. No
sure,
bullshit. It might be the
sure,
highest rated just because of these two teams in an NFC championship environment.
yeah,
Dude, I'm telling you, it might
yeah,
be just crazy.
100%. It definitely has that potential. And I think, and honestly, I agree with you. Like I think the Eagles definitely move on. I think that defense causes Dak some issues. I wouldn't be shocked if we see Jalen potentially make some mistakes though. Um,
Yep, he's
to
not mistake free, and he's
right,
still young.
which obviously could potentially keep the game pretty close.
Yep.
Um,
Or
I
Eagles will do
think
their classic. They'll go up 21 nothing, and then a quarter later it's 21-21, and the Eagles have to win by having a 9.5 minute drive in the
yeah,
fourth quarter. Just a classic.
yeah, and truthfully, likely that'll probably be what ends up happening.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup, man. Obviously, if ultimately this is what it comes down to, because again, the Cowboys winning a playoff game, how often does that really happen? Let's be real here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Let alone two.
uh, yeah, right. So, um, yeah, it'll be interesting, man. It'll be interesting to see. But I do agree. I do agree. I think Philly goes on to the championship game. Where is this year's Super Bowl, by the way?
The what?
Where is the Super Bowl being played this year?
Oh, I have no idea.
I
Someplace
don't
warm.
either. Is it Atlanta?
That's the
I know that's where for the potential like Chiefs Bills matchup.
yeah.
Like I know that's where that's being played.
Uh, Arizona.
Arizona. Okay. I
It
knew
is
it
in
was
Arizona.
something with an A. Um Arizona's kind of cool. I like it that there.
Yep.
Um
State
but
Orm Stadium.
true. Um all right. Now your AFC Conference Championship game.
Yeah.
Already touched on it. Definitely, again, the NFL being rigged. But very likely what's going to be the matter. I think everybody kind of universally agrees. It's either going to be these two teams playing against each other or it's going to be Chiefs Bengals. I mean, I
Yep.
think I
That
think
that'll be the AFC Championship. Yeah.
everybody kind of realizes that. Um who who you got, man? This is a tough matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I'd like to see either team face the Eagles in the Super Bowl because I think
Sure.
both would be great matchups.
Yeah,
And
I
just,
agree.
I would just absolutely love, no matter what the outcome of the Super Bowl would be, if it was the Eagles and Chiefs, I would love the podcast the week after.
Yeah.
Let's get the
Yeah.
Kelsey Bowl story going before
Sure.
that whole week. I think that'd be really cool. But then again, I think the USA or just the world in general also deserves an Eagles Bills Super Bowl. So it's very hard to pick against them. Um, this game is going to be a classic, just punch in the face. You know,
Yeah,
Rocky versus the fucking Russian guy, whatever
sure.
his name is,
Yeah, a
and
rematch of last year's game that was arguably the best game we saw the entire year.
yep, it'll definitely end in some overtime bullshit for sure.
Sure.
Can't avoid that.
Yeah.
Um, Man, it's tough. It can go either way. To be
Sure.
honest with you,
Sure.
I wouldn't be upset at either. I just have a really tough time picking against the Chiefs, so I'm gonna say the Chiefs take it, but I
Yep.
think it's a very, very close game, and the Bills could easily win it. I say Chiefs, but listen, dude, it's literally 50-50. It's an actual coin
Yeah.
flip.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I'm gonna agree with your pick too. Which, by the way, if you guys are watching, he and I, we've already discussed this. We had this discussion the other night as far as who we potentially think, but we didn't go through each individual matchup and like pick who we were gonna win in preparation for this podcast or anything. This is just all done on the fly, and we just happened to pick the same teams. I promise this isn't rigged. I want to make that clear. Anyway,
Yeah.
but no, I do agree. I think definitely a 50-50 matchup. It could really go either way. Like you just have no idea.
Hmm.
Especially with the fact that you're going to be playing at a neutral site instead of playing, with a home field advantage kind of
Yep.
situation there.
Yep.
Um, Definitely brings a whole new element to things. But no, man, I think you kind of hit the head right on the nail. I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch and to see it. I definitely think you'll see some overtime stuff, maybe some ref bullshit that gets involved too, and
Oh yeah, that'll be a
um
classic.
right. I think it'll
We'll
be
hear about it all fucking off
oh
season.
my god, yeah. Um, I think it'll be a fun
Bills
matchup.
fucked over again.
The Bills, who historically they've had some struggles in the NFL. I mean, to make it to the championship game 4 years in a row and lose all 4 years.
Yeah,
That's rough. That's
it's
that's
kind
the
of it's kind of
definition
like
of rough.
it's kind of just like Andy Reid with the Eagles, man. Like just
Yeah,
always right there, but
yeah.
can never just fucking do it, man. You know?
And Sean McDermott, he's a great coach. Josh Allen's a great quarterback. Definitely going to be somebody who's the face of the NFL for quite some time.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's a tough matchup to try to to pick a victor here, but I do think Kansas City wins. Again, I think it'll be a close one, but
Hmm.
yeah, I do think we'll see the Kelsey Brother Bowl, the New Heights Bowl, whatever you want to call it. Because again, the NFL's rigged. It's all fucking scripted. Um, so
Yep. The movie must continue.
yeah, it just has to happen. Um, but with that being said, um, this is another 50-50, man. This is another like really tough
Two
to
best
to
teams in the NFL.
right, and two very similar teams too. And I don't necessarily mean in personnel, but just like in just the way the season's gone down for them. Like
Hmm.
this is two very similar teams to where easily both teams could have been 17-0 if not
Yep.
for them making the various mistakes that they made with turning the ball over.
Hmm.
Um, it is very it's a very 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 interesting matchup. Um, Nick Sirianni being the coach that having the mindset that he has, like he could create some interesting schemes. So can Andy Reid.
Yep.
Andy Reid
No
back in the
doubt.
day was a tight end coach. That was kind of how he started, and
Yep.
so he creates some very interesting schemes for Travis Kelsey, who obviously the best tight end in the league right now.
Mhm.
And
No
could
doubt.
potentially go down as one of the best of all time at that position.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting, man. It is an interesting matchup. Um, and has the potential to create for a very awkward Thanksgiving Christmas dinner in the Kelsey household.
Yeah, I was gonna
Uh
say I do not if this is the Super Bowl matchup, I definitely feel bad for the Kelsey parents because
yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah, right.
What colors do you wear to this game, you know? So
Yeah. Um,
That's a tough one. Maybe just half half. You just get these
yeah,
print
that's what
shirts
you
that are
gotta
half
do.
half.
Yeah, it's just what you gotta do.
Be
But yeah,
neutral in your
man.
cheers.
who uh who you got, man? Who you got in this one?
Yeah, this will be a good ass game. I think this will be an extremely high scoring game, by the way.
Yeah,
Um, like we could literally see like 40-ish points per team.
sure.
Um, I will say, listen, man, listen, I'm very unbiased. I don't I don't pick the Eagles just to pick them. Okay, I have
Yeah,
reasons. I have
yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
Okay,
I'll give you that. I will give you that.
I have reasons. I have good reasons. Okay, but I will say, in this particular year, okay, I'm not saying shit about 2024. In this particular year, I think just because Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are a little bit inexperienced when it comes
Sure,
to this stuff,
sure.
I do think the Chiefs probably edge them out. Okay,
Okay,
I'm strictly giving it to them on experience.
okay.
But, but the Eagles could easily win, and who knows, dude? Who knows? It could even be a blowout on either side. Both the teams are so good. I
Yeah,
wouldn't even put it past either of them to
it's
blow the
definitely a
other out.
possibility. Definitely a possibility.
Um, I probably go Chiefs here, but again, just like with the Chiefs and Bills, total fucking coin flip.
Sure.
It's super tough to judge a game like this, especially between whatever whatever way you want to say it. Number one and the number two team. You can put number one and number two on either side.
Yeah,
Um, they're both basically equally as good as each other.
yeah.
It's tough. I think it might depend, honestly, a lot on just the health of each team going through the playoffs.
Sure. It's definitely a
If
factor.
one's more healthy than the other, that might edge it out. But it's tough. I think Mahomes will be a little bit too much for the Eagles secondary to handle.
Yeah,
So I probably edge out them. But
sure.
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, especially that Mahomes magic, man. Um,
Yep.
it's one of those things to where that's it's tough to compete a bit against that. Which, I mean, we've obviously seen it in the past where you can't compete against it, right? I mean, think back to the Bucks, Kansas City, Super Bowl game.
Yep.
You know,
Mahomes isn't. I mean, he's not mistake free. He's thrown
no,
what 11 picks this year.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, he could definitely make some mistakes, and
yeah,
sometimes he's pretty careless. So
sure,
you never know.
yeah, no, very, very true. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the biggest 50-50, and even though the way our bracket here is kind of worked out, it's been very predictable, we'll say, in terms of like there's no shock upset team that's making it to a conference championship game. But that's also, I think, that's also the teams
Man,
that made
I'd
the playoffs
fucking
this year,
love an
though.
Eagles Jags Super Bowl, man. I'd fucking love it.
Dude, that'd be so cool. But like, realistically, is that actually going to happen? Probably not. And like, even if you
No.
look beyond the statistics, look beyond the odds and all that stuff, like, I just thinking about the potential quote unquote upset teams that are in this playoff this year. None of them really seem like they're going to have the talent to make it that far.
Listen,
Um,
they're just not built for it, man.
no, they're really not. And I think the top seeded teams for this year, I mean, they are true powerhouses. They
Yeah,
they are
yeah, I
they're
was gonna say
tough.
there's literally the Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, those four, and then they're just kind of as everyone else.
Yeah,
It's just kind of how it is.
yeah. So it's tough. I mean, we'll obviously see how it all goes down starting tomorrow, but um, so again, even though it's a very very easily predictable matchup, right, by just picking the two top seeds,
Yeah,
um, it's such a tough matchup to sit there and try to debate between. I think
it can go so many ways, dude.
it
It
really
really can.
can,
It
and
could
like
even be
you
a
said,
defensive battle, and they each score 3 points
hundred
by the
percent,
fourth quarter. You know what I
hundred
mean?
percent,
So
right? And Andy Reid, very experienced coach. Obviously, he's been around for a very very long time. Obviously knows what he's doing. Kansas City is, it's an experienced roster. Even Patrick
Yep.
Mahomes. If this ends up being the matchup, this would be his third Super Bowl run,
Mhm.
in just a short amount of time too. Travis Kelsey again. I mean, the dynamic that the two of them have is incredible. The receiving game, even just as a whole. Juju obviously hasn't really done a ton for them this year. Valdez Scaling has actually been kind of decent for them. Kadarius
Yep.
Toney uh, turned out to be a huge pickup for them. Like he's been playing incredible for them
That's good.
since that trade. But and then Pachenko, there or Pacheco, whatever his last name is, I can't remember. The rookie running back for them. He's been
Mhm.
great for them too. So, um, just a lot of big pieces on the offense for them. Obviously some solid pieces on defense as well. And then even the same could be said for Philly though, right? Like again, it's just when you look at the outline of both teams, like they're just so very similar to one another. Um, but you made a valid point. I think experience does play a factor in it all. I think um I think you'll see some tremendous leadership from some of the veterans on Philly.
Mhm.
Especially with guys like Travis Kelsey, or not Travis, sorry, Jason Kelsey. Um, having won a Super Bowl and being with the team for as long as he has, and Fletcher Cox, and obviously the list goes on there. But I agree. I do think Kansas City wins it out. Um, I think it'll be tough, man. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be a close game. I
Yep.
don't think it ends up being a blowout. Um, but it, I think you'll see one, maybe even two catastrophic mistakes that Philly ends up making. Whoever it may
Yeah, I
be,
wouldn't doubt
whether if it's Jalen Hurts, whether if it's the guy fumbling the ball, whether if it's blown coverage on defense, who knows, right? But
it. Mhm.
I think that's what's going to come down to. I think both teams have played so well all year long. All of their losses that they've had have been from literally just careless football.
Yep.
Um, and I think both teams are going to play so well throughout that game. If this ends up being the matchup, um, and I think ultimately what's going to end up happening is it's just going to be that one or two plays that just end up being a
Like,
catastrophic mistake.
turn the tide, yeah.
Yeah, that just kind of just blows the game up wide open, and ultimately I think Kansas City ends up being the benefactor from it.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, and I think Patty Mahomes gets his second Super Bowl ring. I think Andy Reid gets his second Super Bowl ring. Celebrates with some cheeseburgers. Um, and it goes from there. But
Yep.
it'll it'll be interesting, man. It'll be a fun playoff. I'm excited for this playoff. I think it's gonna be so much fun to watch. I
So I
can't
think
wait
this
for
is the
tomorrow.
most interesting playoffs thing we've seen in a while, to be honest. So,
Yeah, 100%,
um,
100%.
not obviously some predictable teams are in the mix.
Yeah,
But definitely some surprises in there, right? So
yeah.
I think it'll be interesting. And listen, man, like I said, I'm pulling hard for the Jags. I'm pulling hard.
Yeah, dude, that'd be
Could you
such a
imagine
fun
if they knock
matchup.
off the Chiefs? Could you fucking imagine if the
Oh my
Jags knock
god,
off the Chiefs?
that
Oh
would
my
be
fucking god,
that'd
bro.
be fun. I mean, honestly, just them knocking off the Chargers in and of itself would be quite the upset.
Yeah, that'd be insane too. Yeah, if they win a
Um,
playoff game, holy fuck. They gotta
yeah,
sign Doug Peterson like a 15-year fucking contract at that point. Just to
yeah,
go from what they were last year to this year, like holy shit.
yeah. No, it'll be interesting, man. I'm excited for tomorrow. I can't wait. I can't wait, man.
Mhm.
It's gonna be so much fun. It'll be so much
Yep.
fun. But Um, but yeah, guys, let us know what you think. You give us your layout, whether or not you agree with us, whether or not you think there's going to be some shock upset, whether or not you think the Seahawks are going to win it all, or if somehow the Bears magically fight their way into the playoffs, like if it's a WWE like Royal Rumble match, it's like a surprise entrant or something.
Mhm.
You let us know. Give us your thoughts, your takes. Um,
Yep.
it's gonna be fun.
Seahawks Dolphins Super Bowl. If
Yeah.
you're gonna die on that hill, let us know why.
Yeah, yeah, please do. Please do. But all right, man. Well, this was fun. Well, a long
Yep.
fucking episode. 2 hours. Oh, a 2 hour
Yeah.
episode.
Yep.
It's the longest one we've had so far, but it was good. It was good.
That's good. That was good.
I enjoyed it. Guys, as always, man, we appreciate you. We love you. We appreciate all the support. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hope you had some popcorn by you. Hope you got to sit back, relax, and enjoy two knuckleheads talking about some nonsense like always.
Yep.
But before we close things out, Mr. Lambert, do you have anything that you want to share? You want to throw out there?
Man, no.
All right. All right then. um, guys, it was fun. It was a pleasure. As always, stay safe out there. Be kind to one another and love one another. Adios. Peace out. Enjoy the games. Have fun. And see you guys next week, man. Take care. Peace.
Bye bye.